Mm-hmm. It's alive.
Hey guys, it's your boy TG, and yeah, bring it from the bottom. You're locked in to Goode Got You Entertainment. Hey, I got a lot of people here with me today. Across the hall, across the screen, Martell, the man with the plan right there. Beside me, my co-host as always, MPG, Marco Polo the Greatest. His name's Marcus. Later on tonight, Cam with the plan, Cameron Taylor will be joining us. And oh boy, you already know who this is. It's your boy TG, and it's about to blow up. It's been a long, long time. I know we're going through a lot. I know COVID's still around. I know a lot of families have been torn apart and some have been built together with situations going on through the world right now. But you're going to be locked in the Goo Got Your Entertainment for the next hour. So get in your seat, hit that button, get buckled up, and get your popcorn ready. Because we're going to break down the NFL. First off, Martell, how are you doing over there?
Blessed, can't complain. How you doing?
Man, hey, it's amazing on this side. Marco Polo, we're back again.
We are.
Third year. I just looked at the calendar and I said, woo, time flies when you're having fun. And boy, I have been having fun. How you doing?
I'm feeling good. I'm blessed to see another day. Let's get it.
Yeah, you know that's right. Blessed to see another day. We're starting it out. The NFL season. We got done basketball. Baseball's under wrap, and, well, we're going into another basketball season soon. But right now, let's talk about, well, you know who I'm coming for first. Well, you know. You Dallas Cowboy fans, y'all play who? The Brady Bay Buccaneers. Y'all started the season. You started the season in Tampa. And you thought y'all were going to the Super Bowl and you can't even win one game. I'm going straight from the jump street. Brady is 6-0 against you guys. You lost by a field goal that you shouldn't have. You blamed it on a pass interference, if you want to call it that. But did y'all get away with 2 holding calls in the game? Just saying. Did Ezekiel Elliott get stuck in traffic? Yes, he did, because he didn't even score a touchdown. But he's still the best back in the league, according to you guys. You got Cooper Rush as a backup. You got Dak Prescott out there doing whatever he want to do. And you still didn't even win the game. But y'all played like champions. But Martell, I got to bring it to you on this. Cowboys had special team issues across the board.
Throughout the
Missing a total of 3. 2 field goals and 1 extra point. If you take consideration, that's 3, 1. Ooh, that's a lot of points.
A lot of math.
Yeah. I don't like to do math. But the Cowboys lost. How do you think, what was the reason behind this whole thing of losing for the Dallas Cowboys?
They suck. That's all.
And do you think that Dallas Cowboy fans are overrated or underrated right now? Like, should we just sit back and say it's one game? They played the champions?
They swear they're going to the Super Bowl, so, apparently they're going to say, yeah, we the champs this year, next year, year after that, and things like that.
I totally understand. Marcus, you know how I feel about Dallas. I hate them. I love the team. I love the logo. I love the name.
But you hate the fans.
But I hate the damn fans. Because every year they won the Super Bowl had ended. Guess who the first people popped up a video? The Dallas Cowboys. Our season's now. Get out of here with that. Now my question is to you. Dallas played pretty conservative. They played pretty good.
For sure.
Dak did his thing. He was pressured some. They had 2 offensive linemen out. They had a couple defensive personnel out for COVID-19, and we know how that is and impacting several different teams. But at the end of the day, they still had Dak. They still had some man guard, and they still had their wide receivers. And guess who else they still had? Ezekiel Elliott. And guess what didn't happen? The Cowboys lost. And you see what my cup? Look at this cup.
Look at the cup.
Look at what did they say, America? Dallas suck. Because they do. But my thing is you, Mark. How do you feel about that game? The Bucks bust a banner. They're at home. Brady says, I'm not losing. And they come in that game slanging it. Bombs over Baghdad.
Well, coming into the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Cowboys game, you already knew what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was capable of. I mean, they're defending Super Bowl champs for a reason. And did you mention that Brady is Brady? And that's what Tom Brady did that night. Brady doing Brady things. And when you bring in 22 other players, 22 other starters to help you out, that says a lot. That shows leadership. That shows ownership that Tom Brady and his team have collectively. Now, as far as the game, it was a competitive game, but I think the key things with the advantage of the Cowboys is they had to make those 3 field goals from the kicker. But because he missed it, that sort of gave them the disadvantage of retaining the lead, keeping the lead, and also trying to be able to close out the game, which they didn't. And that's why Tom Brady and the crew was able to capitalize and explore the victory.
Well, Tampa did do one thing. They shut the Cowboys up for week 1, and we don't have to worry about them and their Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever they post to. I don't know. I don't care about Dallas.
Facts.
You see my mug. I got that drawn up today by a special person because I needed this on the show. Don't worry about what's in it. Just know that the Dallas, and if it's empty, that's what Dallas Cowboys are. I'm just being real. I'm just saying.
Hey, but funny thing is, I was in a house full of Cowboy fans watching on the big screen. I had my Patriots Brady jersey on that night.
Respect.
I sat there. Yeah, first of all, you don't give Brady a minute and 24 on the clock in the fourth quarter. That man is very suicidal and dangerous with the football when it comes to, fourth quarter anyway. So look what he did in New England, apparently, I know. So, hey.
It's the Dallas Cowboys.
Period.
But I'm going to let Dallas rest now and get ready for week 2. Hopefully that they may win. But let's move on. With the NFL season starting week 1, and we talked about Dallas opening up the season. And what a game that was. From pass interference calls to referees not catching the normal holding calls. Human error always exists inside the NFL. We realize that. But let's get into it. Talk about the Eagles and the Falcons. Falcons getting crushed. The Battle of the Dirty Birds. We got a bunch of them throughout the season. But this one, 32-6. Let me tell you something. The Eagles, before we get into it, Jalen Hurts. This guy, oh boy, this guy started out and he was blazing 27-35. He not only had that 265 yards and throwing. I didn't even look at his rushing because I didn't even want to even go that far. That's too much homework. But 3 TDs, 3 of them things. I had a whole deal that I thought that the Falcons were going to do something. Don't get me wrong. But Matty Ice, he did what Matty Ice do, and he was skating all night long. He didn't get his feet back in the backfield. He didn't get any much completion. I didn't even look at his side of the ball because I knew, he only scored 6 points. So that's 2 field goals. So unless you score, then you get the field goal. I didn't even want to look on that side because it's too much homework. But
no sense looking at that.
It's sad. It's very sad. But the Eagles, I will say, they are scary impressive. At this point, having a new quarterback, having a offense that was kind of built for Carson Wentz. Wentz got now in the Colts. You're going in there as a starting quarterback. As a new, fresh off the press QB, and nobody. Might have been a few Eagle fans, and we got some viewing here. But the thing is, you come in and put stats up like that in week 1 when teams are at their probably should be most healthiest point. But to you, Marcus, is how much? Are the Eagles that good, or the Falcons just that bad?
Well, we still got to keep in mind that this isn't just the first week. So, with the Eagles being that good, they just gotta keep the consistency Of course, with Jalen Hurts, we saw how explosive he was with 3 touchdowns, alongside with his former college, now professional teammate in Devontae Smith. We saw how that chemistry was able to work. We saw that. And with Jalen Hurts, the only thing is he just gotta, be consistent with it. I feel like if he can be consistent and show that type of performance in week 1 and continue on, I feel like the Eagles can be very successful.
So, with that, Martell being said, the Eagles cruised past the Falcons 32. Some people said 33-6. They added up the score. Everybody turned to a statistician during the game. But let's say this. What is the biggest takeaway from the Eagles in the Falcons game that you think? I mean, Jalen Hurts to me is the biggest takeaway because having a new quarterback, most time they don't win a game. But he comes out first part of the season and says, "Hold on, Doc. I'm going to go get this."
Basically, Eagles, they literally proved the point. They was trying to prove a point, hey, like, yeah, we here, we fresh, we coming for all teams. That's what it looked like to me on that game Sunday.
And that's
So
what they did. They played smash mouth football. All gas, no break, as some people would say, whatever you want to call it.
Pedal to the metal.
And they did it. But hey, now the Eagles, they got one of the only wins in their division right now. Sadly,
Hey.
I'm just saying, they still got a lot to go. On to the Pittsburgh Steelers playing the Buffalo Bills. As we've seen both teams last season, these teams bashed it out a couple times, even hitting it off, trying to be in the playoffs. And the Steelers, well, they slammed the door shut. 23-16. Buffalo Bills defense struggled throughout the day. Somehow the Pittsburgh Steelers and Big Ben got their stuff together, and they cruised past it defense and offensively. Actually, being on the road week 1, most teams struggle, which we've seen it happen. But somehow the Buffalo Bills crumbled at home. They fumbled the ball. Their defense didn't catch any kind of break, being on the field majority of the time. As Pittsburgh just scored 23, and it looked like it was kind of a playoff contention team if they made. But Martell second on this part, the Steelers and Big Ben, do you think they stay consistent? They first week knocked off the Buffalo Bills. And now you have Big Ben looking at week 2 going, whoa, 23-16. That's a good game. Now, do the Steelers continue to be consistent, or do you think the Steelers throughout the season, since being week 1, do they crumble earlier in the season and they be like the old Pittsburgh Steelers we used to seeing?
I think at this point, I mean, we're in week 1 going into week 2. I feel like the leadership that's going on, especially with Ben right now, and then Coach Mike, of course, I think that there's going to be a lot of consistency in this season. Ben still has a lot left to prove, no matter the age, just like Brady, no matter the age. Can't sleep on him. Anything is possible.
You do got that right. You definitely do. And one thing about veteran quarterbacks, as you know, that we found out time after time, and a good point you pulled there, Martell, with quarterbacks like Tom Brady, secondhand on Big Ben is lose a down, gain the big yards. Most of these quarterbacks now are, and one reason they're getting banged up today is they want to be a mobile quarterback, but they want to be a pocket passer. You got a few of them like Lamar that's out there in the world. You got Russell Wilson. You got Patrick Mahomes. You got those guys. And then you got the old stationary pocket passer like Tom Brady. You got a mobile quarterback stationary like Aaron Rodgers that's in the between. He can do both, but he's not really good on the run side, but he can get out the pocket and get around. And then you got quarterbacks like Tom Brady and Big Ben. They're bigger up top, so when you go at them, you got to go at them correct, like you do anything else. And one thing about these guys, Tom Brady, Ben especially, and not even taking it from the Steelers, Big Ben, they're willing to lose a down, throw the ball away, don't create a turnover, and come back next play and execute. That's one thing about quarterbacks like this, Big Ben and Tom Brady, you watch and see, is that's what they do. They don't try to get themselves hurt because look at how long Tom Brady's been playing. He's been playing almost combined, me and Mark has been, in here since we even came in the world. So you think this quarterback has stayed around longer than some of the guys that I've ever even seen on a roster? I mean, just look at the fact that Cam Newton, he threw out a job and Tom Brady's still playing as a starter for a team. Not even taking shots at Cam Newton, but I'm just saying. You got to look at the difference of how Cam Newton came in the league, and he's still relevant. Don't get me wrong. I'm not doubting nothing that Cam Newton can do, but right now is he on an active roster? No. But then Tom Brady, he played at a manner that he knew, I'm going to stay here. This is my place. And I'm going to, if I got to move, I got to move. And he moved, and he took control of another team. And that's when you gain respect because you wanted the greatest people of all time to play sport at your position. And that's what it goes down to. But back to the Steelers and the Buffalo Bills. Marcus, can you tell me anything about how in the hell did the Buffalo Bills defense struggle against Big Ben? Which I told you Big Ben is who he is, but
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I thought I had the Bills win that game, but just seeing that score, it was like 10-0. You was thinking, okay, Bills, they got momentum on their side. Hopefully the offense will start clicking and rolling, but throughout the whole game, the Bills offense just didn't have that much life. You didn't have Stephon Diggs around. You didn't have Cole Beasley around. You still, yes, you had Singletary, but he still need that much help around him. So, and then you gotta give credit to the Steelers defense. I mean, they played lights out all game. Shout out to T.J. Watt for just doing what T.J. Watt do. Shout out to his contract, which he proved that he deserved that contract by just being that versatile pass rusher that we all used to seeing. And the Steelers, they just came out on top.
And that's what they did. 23-16, Steelers move on. That's a nice divisional round. That's a nice AFC matchup. What we possibly could see.
Yeah, we definitely
AFC playoff game.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's going to come, and will you get revenge or not? We'll see that. And some teams on week one schedule, they're getting banged up. Like you said, COVID's still around. We'll talk about that and how that's impacted some games. But now let's get to the young and dumb game right here that I'm talking about. And the Bengals outlasted the Vikings in overtime. Kirk Cousins, let me tell you a little bit about these guys. Two of different tales of this game right here. Kirk Cousins been in the league, considered a veteran. Joe Burrow went out first season. He got injured against the Washington football team. We all saw that gross injury that happened, and we know what's capable of that and what happened, and took him out for the whole season. But to actually come back, let me tell you a little bit about this before we move into conversation. Kirk Cousins, his stats, 36 for 49, 351, and he had 2 touchdowns, 3 sacks. Now, you talk that's a veteran that's been in the league. He went from Washington. He's went around different teams and now been in the Vikings for a few seasons. And then look at this. Joe Burrow, second season after coming off a major injury. Some people say he may not be projected to play this season. Now turn that around and say goodbye, because now this is looking really good. 20 of 27. You got 261 yards. Two of them things. You heard me, 2 touchdowns, 5 sacks. The sacks a little bit he don't have the much protection that he need like normal QBs have. But guess what? They got the job done. And I will say well done by Joe Burrow and the boys, because they won in overtime against, not the best of defenses, but the Vikings have that solid defense that can hold the game down if they do. But, hey, when your quarterback throws 49 attempts, hey, you got to get a little worried sometime. And when he's Kirk Cousins, you got to know, hey, he's not vaccinated quite yet. I don't think so. Hey, if he die, he die. That's what he said. But getting into it, Marcus, the Bengals and Joe Burrow, they don't have Green anymore. He's shipped out. He's in Arizona. But what's your biggest takeaway from this game? They won in overtime. The kicker did it most. That's the big problem too. Field goal kickers nowadays. Some teams got it. Some teams don't. Detroit don't even know if they got one or not. Guess what? The Dallas Cowboys probably signed theirs and sent him off in a package. I don't know if he did it or live. But somebody check on him, because he might got sent home. I don't know. But what's your biggest takeaway in the Bengals and Vikings game?
My biggest takeaway is, Joe Burrow. Like, During like this whole off season, we was all worried about like how will Joe Burrow will make his performance in the second year of his season, and so far he did really well. But I feel like with Joe Burrow, if he can like maintain this performance, hopefully the and stay healthy. Hopefully the injury doesn't linger on him, because we know with like knee injuries on among players, it does can cause some effect on your playing style and your mechanics. But hopefully with Joe Burrow just staying consistent, being that player that he was used to being in college in LSU to now, I feel like he has a chance to be that comeback player of the year.
Maybe comeback player of the year. We have a conversation each year. Last year, Alex Smith took that credit for that. But Martell, this is one of the games you kind of go, boy, oh boy. You got Minnesota because you know what they can do. They got Adam Thielen, they got Dalvin Cook, but boy, oh boy, that was not enough for the Bengals. So, what would be your biggest upset in this game? When you look at this game, who would you say why? Just why?
The whole game, period. Just why.
And why you say that?
Shout out to Burrows, though, man. We don't really watch the Bengals like that. Or the Vikings.
Disrespect them. We truly do disrespect Joe Burrow and what he has to offer. And I think truly, I know it's one game, just relax. Aaron Rodgers said it, and we'll talk about him later. But in the same sense, you look at games like this and you go, okay, week one. I think everybody had that kind of cloud going around their team this week. It's like, week one. Let's see.
And then also you can't sleep on the Bengals as well, because usually 9 times out of 10 teams like the Cincinnati Bengals, they could be that sneaky team that like to play spoiler and like just ruin playoff chances and playoff hopes among other teams.
We'll see that. So, Bengals outlast the Vikings in OT, sent them home. Well, they were already home. They walked away and went back to their home. But another game, talking about these games, some of them close, some of them we call a comeback, and that's what I'm going to talk about here. The 49ers and the Lions. 41-33, Jared Goff. Oh, did you say Jared? Yeah, I did say Jared Goff. That's 38-57, 338 yards, 3 TDs, and guess what? A loss. But let me tell you this. I did see this game, and one of these things right here, the 49ers had Jimmy Garoppolo in. Jimmy Garoppolo struggled, tossed the interception, so that was one turnover at the start of the game. He was then benched by the coaching staff, and then guess who? Trey Lance got sent in. They flipped and flopped all night long, and it was worth it, but it was kind of confusing at the same time. But I kind of understood what they were doing, but I'm like, hey, let somebody bite the dirt a little bit. And one thing I saw a team do that, and that's called the Dolphins. They did that last season with Tua, and they did it with Fitzpatrick. And it caused a lot of havoc in the locker room. Not only the locker room, the team, and ultimately the games that they lost, and that's why they were eliminated in the playoffs. So talking about that, the 49ers won that game 41-33. Before halftime, you looked at that score, you said, boy, oh boy, there's no way of comeback. But I will give credit where it's due. Even though the Lions lost, Jared Goff had 3 of them things. 49ers had to scoop 2 back-to-back QBs and rotate. So you got to 49ers, I will say, before I hand it over to Martell, 49ers have to come out with whoever they want to be a starter. You should not be flipping like that going throughout a game. It's not healthy for the team's sake. But
that's bad.
Martell, you go ahead.
That's bad all around. You don't flip flop your quarterbacks like that. Shout out to Trey Lance though. I see a lot of potential in him.
A lot of potential.
I watch him.
He got the weapons there.
Just gotta watch him. I feel like he may end up being that actual starter. I mean, a lot of these rookies have came out swinging anyway. So, I mean, that's my thing.
Let me see. I have a good thing. My other co-host, he's joining in. Let's see how that goes. Cam with the plan should be joining in on the other screen. In a couple minutes, it should function and let it go through. Cam, let me know if you hear me, and when you do, we'll rock and roll from there. Um, and from the other side, Marcus, boy, oh boy, we get to this moment. 49ers and the Lions. Sometimes say you gotta watch the Lions.
Yeah.
And then some people gotta say them 49ers. What you think was who's the team to watch right now? Because the Lions got 33 points. Don't get me wrong, but they struggled to get them 33 and still took a L.
I would say the 49ers because like you mentioned, I feel like Trey Lance will sooner or later be the starter eventually. Like you mentioned before, he has a lot of potential. Really, the 49ers, they just need to stick with one quarterback and just stop flip-flopping. It just throws not only the fans, but also other people that's watching off to decide, okay, who shall I start in this week? Who shall I start next week? Who shall I start this week? So it just needs to be a balanced structure, a balanced system in a way where, okay, this QB is our main starter for the rest of the season. Let's keep stacking up wins and let's be dominant throughout.
And dominant throughout is the thing, and we got a lot of things going through and experiencing a little bit of technical difficulties on this side, but I do want to make sure Martell and Cam has connected back so they can hear us. And you guys can hear us good. I see a thumbs up. Cam, how you doing, brother?
Uh-oh.
Cam may be experiencing technical difficulties. Martell, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro.
Perfect. Okay. Cam should be able to hear me very soon. He'll chime in once he do hear me. But let's get the boat rolling. And I got to tell you this. The Cardinals, oh boy, and the Titans. Look at this. Tennessee Titans. We've seen them many a times last year where Derrick Henry gets hot, and guess what he does? He goes off. He gets to moving. We've seen Ryan Tannehill become from who? The Dolphins? And didn't even think he was a starter potential. And then he comes out there. Well, he's still a glorified second string. But in the same sense, no shade thrown, Martell, on Ryan Tannehill. Don't get me wrong. I don't have it against him. But last night, the Cardinals, 38-13? Are you kidding me? Derrick Henry was kept in the doghouse, and I ain't talking about the Cleveland Browns because the Browns is closed. But I want to tell you this: you had 17 carries. You 17 carries in a scrub boat later, and you come out here with only 58 yards. Are you kidding me? You're one of the start. You are one of the best running backs, quote unquote, in the league. As far as Zeke Elliott, on Cowboys, I don't know what y'all doing, but you didn't have a touchdown.
Right.
Are you kidding me? I complete disbelief. But no. Let's go there, Martell. I want to talk about Ryan Tannehill. Because, sakes, I will tell you this. The one touchdown, and you throw one interception, you get sacked 6 times, and then you give me 2 more turnovers? Are you kidding me? Then you want to be a contender in the AFC.
No.
You should pack up. I know it's week one, but no, you don't respond. Well, I mean, you got a lot of teams respond with that, but you don't. Anyway,
I don't even want to talk about it.
It's just
over Derrick Henry.
Disrespect.
Derrick Henry should have been killing in the game.
Yeah, he should have. I mean, the Cardinals defense still got some things going on. Cardinals defense got some things working. And then you got a nice little team, all complete. But, Marcus, I'm going to let you say this. How does the Titans recover from week one?
I was just expecting a better performance out of the Titans, man. I mean, just looking at the school, you just be like, man. But big props to the Arizona Cardinals. We know what D Hop is capable of. We know what Kyler Murray is capable of. We saw his play style, his mechanics, scrambling outside the pocket, inside the pocket, just to create incredible plays. Christian Kirk with that touchdown pass. Just everything around the Arizona Cardinals right now looks like it could be pretty dangerous.
And I put them as a threat. Some people say it's still beginning. And yeah, everything unfolds. But one thing right now that I'm seeing, I do like the connection, like you said, D Hop. Now Hopkins, if some people say D Hop, some people say Hopkins, my bad. But in the
You
same
got
sense,
AJ Green on the scene.
Green on the scene. You got not only that, you got Christian Kirk, like you said, and you got a young, talented quarterback and Murray. So it's one of those things. Pick your poison. That's what they're saying. And I like the way that the coaching staff that's there has utilized their weapons. I like one thing, when you have a team that's so stacked that every defender don't know which way they want to go, that's how it's supposed to be. Instead of being like a Green Bay Packers, they only got one person. Or just be like a Jacksonville that don't have anybody. Are you going to be teams like that, or will you be like the Cardinals? Now, they're still young. And when you're young, you do dumb things. And so one thing about that is I like the Cardinals, but the thing about having the mentality to keep on striking like they are, and then you go into the season like this and you go in hot, you set the bar really, really high. And when you set that bar really, really high, guess what? You got to maintain the bar. And that's one thing I don't believe they would do throughout the season. Only thing, too, is that they have to maintain injuries. That's another thing, because having a lot of veterans on the field or having a lot of veteran wide receivers, guess what? Injuries come up. And if they had a previous history of injuries, those injuries tend to get retweaked. And guess what? That happens. Then you got a bunch of no-shows that haven't even played second team reps in practice, come and start playing, and then you fail.
And that's the reason why it's very important to have depth on your team, because you gotta stay ready so that you don't have to get ready. That's the whole model of the process.
They don't hear you preaching to the choir.
Hey, and talking about staying ready and getting ready, let's talk about Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. One of the teams in the whole entire preseason, the draft, the whole offseason, Seattle Seahawks went into some controversy with Russell Wilson. Wilson said, I'm done. I'm out. Pete Carroll says, hold on, Doc. I got something for you. He's going, nah, I want to get out. And then somehow out of nowhere, they pulled the rug, and then it got quiet. And everybody said, what's going on in Seattle? And I like that. Between two coaches I see in the NFL is Pete Carroll and I see Bill Belichick. Guess what? They do not let none of the information out about what they're doing in their league or what they're doing on their side of the boat to keep their team afloat. And one thing I can say, bombs over Baghdad, in the Colts' home, even though the Colts had their starter and they had Indianapolis, they had Carson Wentz, and they had their whole team except for T.Y. Hilton, but they had some guys take over for them that could do some great work. But Russell Wilson, 23, 254, 4 touchdowns. He got sacked 3 times. That's really great for a team that they got Lockett. Him and Lockett connected throughout the game. I'm not going to say they don't have their times of hiccup, but when you have 28-16, yeah, I know the Colts are not the best of the bunch of teams to play, but they're not no slouches either. And Carson Wentz, I know he's not the best of quarterback to play, but guess what? He's in the NFL. He's on a 53-man roster. I'm just saying. But Martell, with this conversation, how do you think Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks, their venture, do you think it's going to be long, dark road, or do you think it's going to be blue skies and sunshine?
Good question. First of all, Pete Carroll is a very smart guy. Anything can happen as far as the blue skies or the dark road is concerned. I believe the best of both worlds. So I'm going to just say the best is yet to come for Seattle, honestly.
They're still that guy. They're still that team. And one thing about Seattle that I like, you just never know what you get week to week. And like last season, we watched them play the Giants at the end of the season, and the Giants stopped them. I was just like, whoa, the Giants just stopped Seattle last year? Are you kidding me? and they stopped Russell on the 4th and like 10, and that was the ball game. But Marcus, what's the now without having T.Y. Hilton for the Colts? Carson Wentz was out for injury sustained in preseason, and we didn't know what his status was. He came out like the golden hero. Well, he's not because they lost the first week. But Carson Wentz put up his team with 16 points. But what can the Colts do now on to progress in the season? There's only week 1, and there's a lot of games, 16 to go, as all QBs would say.
They just gotta find their rhythm and just getting everybody involved. I mean, even though Carson Wentz and the Indianapolis Colts had lost, they still shown some progression. But in order to like maintain that progression, they just gotta improve on certain aspects and just get better as week goes by.
Definitely got to get better. We'll see that game 28-16. Seahawks take that. Say again.
They'll be watching the tapes and the films of yesterday's game. I think that Indianapolis they'll recover eventually.
They will recover. I just can't wait to see what T.Y. Hilton when he get back, because he makes that team just that so much more deadlier when he gets on the field. Because I mean, I wish T.Y. Hilton would go to another team and get go to a contender. And because T.Y. Hilton's that receiver, he's that guy that everybody goes, that's T.Y., and then everybody else is like, who's the rest of the team? And that's how you kind of look at it. Surprisingly,
that's a true story.
It is. And so let's talk about the Chargers. And they've been shooting over Washington. Not only shooting over Washington, I think a lightning bolt hit one of their pipes and then bursted it inside the stadium, just like their season. Trash. And just like the others, trash. And the rest of it, trash. They need to get that pipe fixed, because I don't think that was water. I think that was sewage. But in the same sense, talking about off the field, let's talk about not only that, but another quarterback, another season, and another quarterback going with a hip injury. The hip, ankle, leg, better not play on Washington football team. If you want to get injured, perfect. I got a plan for you, Aflac. Short-term disability, because that's what you're going to need. Ryan Fitzpatrick placed on IR. He just got updated before the podcast. He is out for 6 to 8 weeks with a hip injury. That's what happens when you have a senior citizen as your quarterback, just saying. But on the other flip side of things, you have the Washington football defense. Boy, oh boy, I am pissed at you guys, because at the end of the day, you got all these players on your defense, and your defensive line is stacked, and you come out there like spots against Justin Herbert and the Chargers. I know you got thunderstorms, but that was a lightning storm, and it wasn't no rain. And when it rained, guess what happened? It poured. And one thing happened here. I didn't like watching football defense one bit. They couldn't even stop cold water coming to the refrigerator. And then you want to talk about that? Now you have your starting QB out, which you should never even probably gotten because he's so old. But in the second thing, you put Tyler Heineke in there, which I think it should have been his job from the start. I'm just saying. But in the same sense, I want to ask this question to both of you guys. I want to get your opinion, but Martin, I'm going to start with you first. Will head coach Ron Rivera, with him not having the depth, like Marcus said, you need to have depth in your team. You need to have a depth chart that's built. So when injuries like this happen, you have another star to be born. And guess what? Do you think Ron Rivera reaches out to Cam Newton? Because Cam Newton don't have a home, and he's waiting for a spot? Or do you think Cam Newton don't deserve that?
First of all, bring Cam Newton back to the Patriots. But I don't know. If it happens, it happens. I mean, Cam does need a job.
He do. I mean, he just put his unemployment papers in a few days ago. I'm saying.
Yeah, you know full well that man don't even need no unemployment.
I mean, I'm just saying. But on the flip side, Marcus, do you think it'd be a smart move for Ron Rivera to just go get Cam and say, "Come on home, buddy," or should he stick with Tyler Heineke? We've seen what Heineke can do against the Bucks in the last year in the playoffs. I mean, regardless of whatever happened throughout that, and Washington did lose, but I can say Tyler Heineke put it all on the line for his team. And yesterday, he wasn't that bad coming in off a cold start.
Facts.
But what you think? Do you think Tyler Heineke is his man and keep him in there until Ryan Fitzpatrick hopefully comes back from retirement or go into retirement? But or do you think you should go get Cam Newton? Who do you think is the best outcome of that one?
I mean, it wouldn't hurt to get Cam Newton, especially far as the relationship and chemistry that both Ron Rivera and Cam Newton had in Carolina. So at this point, you just like never know. And there's no discredit to Heineke. We seen what he's able to do on the field, but sometimes you just gotta like wonder, can he be that guy like to just lead the Washington football team away and just like punch in that playoff ticket? I know it's soon, but too soon to tell, but still.
We talked about that. I think the Washington football team plays the Giants in Washington, so they get back-to-back chances of being at home against the team. And would they go 0-2 is the question.
Rivera might go ahead and make that call. If he make that call, I wouldn't be mad at him. And
At this point, you got Tyler Heineke or Cam Newton, and I mean, not saying nothing different. It's a tough choice because we've all seen what Tyler Heineke can do, and we've seen the downgrade that Cam Newton. I truly think he don't get the start.
You know, Cam Newton do not want to be no bad guy.
No, he's not. He has not been bad.
We do not.
No, we're not going to go that
We're
route.
not.
I think truly, not even saying it on a Cam Newton note, I think if he became a backup, it'll become a toxic relationship within the football team. I think he would create stress in the locker room because he would create that movement in the battle locker room, and I don't think that's good. But if he do come to Washington, I would like to see that battle between the two QBs and see who gets the starting position because he has been sitting at home. That would be nice to see. On to the next. We're not going to take too much time out on this, but because one of those games, the Panthers versus the Jets. 1914, Sam Darnold goes to play his old buddy team, and he played exceptionally well. 279, 1 touchdown, 1 sack for Sam Darnold. At least he's not seeing ghosts. And that's the ballpark. So 1914, Panthers lead. Panthers beat the Jets, and that's it. We're not going to talk about them no more. On to the next. On to the next. Let's talk about Tyrod Texans. No. Oh, that's Houston Texans. Sorry. They canceled the Trevor Lawrence show. Trevor Lawrence, go get your hair done. And nails did. Let me talk about this. Trevor Lawrence, first game in the NFL. Welcome to Houston, buddy. Because guess what? You just got lost. And you didn't get mail. And this is not AOL. But let me tell you this. 3 of them things, but then I say 3 of them things. You had 3 touchdowns, and then you had 3 interceptions. One thing you might not be ready for is the NFL. But one thing you did do, 332 yards. Some people say, ooh, if Cam was here, he'll say, don't talk about my Clemson quarterback. Because guess what? I don't care. Because it's Clemson. And did I tell you about Clemson? I'm not going to get on that. It's NFL talk. But I want to figure this out, guys. And I really deeply want to see this. Because Tyrod's Texans succeeded in this game, and they won. They played Jacksonville, granted or not. But they played an NFL team, and Tyrod started, and he won. Kudos. But what does this mean for Deshaun Watson? He wants out of Houston. He has those allegations that are screeching across the world right now that we don't know. They've gotten really quiet. And I don't have any room for stuff like that because I don't even like that type of stuff. I'm not even on the side of his side because at that point, I don't know if it's the lady's not telling the truth or he's not telling and coming and confessing. And that's one thing, you get stuck in a tricky, hard spot. And I believe the women are telling the truth because I believe that many women will come out with allegations just to say and put somebody away. I think it's true. And it's all on the same scale of going through. But what do you think? With a win from Tyrod's Texans, where do you think Deshaun Watson sits now? Because, I mean, he's sitting on the bench now. He's a bench warmer. So Martel, what you say about Deshaun Watson? Do you think he just rides the season out and then hope for a trade next year, or do you think he ever gets some kind of start playing time this season?
Get out of Houston while you can.
I feel that. I feel that. And Marcus, do you think Tyrod keeps his starting position? He didn't throw. He didn't do bad, but we also know he can't stay consistent either. So do you think Deshaun Watson gets the starting position again, or do you think he just says, "Ah, I'm gonna sit back and relax"?
If I'm Deshaun Watson, I would just go to another team because you basically just got your starting position shot to Tyrod Taylor. So it's just best for Deshaun Watson to just go to another team where he's more structured, he's more comfortable, and can help be him be back to his old self.
And I want to tell you this. So you got Deshaun Watson doing that, but Martell, I'm gonna close this conversation down with this. If Deshaun Watson goes to a different team, where do you see him go to?
Um, Probably like the Giants.
They need somebody because Daniel Jones is not getting the job done.
Absolutely.
Horrible,
Yeah,
horrible. Man,
I see him in New York for sure. Yeah.
that do sound about a good plan. Cam would be so distraught. I'm gonna try to add him in and see if he can hear us because we're talking about his New York Giants, and he wouldn't appreciate it because we know how Cam is, and we know he talked about his Clemson.
Hey, do not my New York Giants. This is what we are not about to do.
Oh boy.
I'm just saying, Cam. But my question to you, though, before we continue, because I'll welcome Cam Taylor to the show and
What's up?
Cam the plan. But first off, let me ask you, Cam, how you feeling?
I'm off work. I feel great.
Hey, I understand that, but hey, so let me ask you this. So Tyrod's Texans shut down the Trevor Lawrence show, but
Right.
in the same sense, where do you think Deshaun Watson? What happens to him then?
They wait and see what happens because at this point it's a PR thing. You don't want, something to go, public again. More allegations, of course. At this point, he just has to sit and wait to see what happens. Because, I don't know if y'all follow baseball very closely, but Trevor Bauer of the Dodgers was accused of some type of sexual misconduct or some type of sexual harassment or something like that. And the Dodgers, every time he was supposed to play, nah, you're not playing, buddy. We don't need you. We don't want you around right now. It's not good PR right now. It's not good PR, period. So until they figure out what the end result, or at least what a plan is to get to that end result, don't expect to see Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I understand that, and that's a good note to close on that one. Let's talk about the Chiefs and their comeback on
Hold
the
up.
ground.
Did y'all see my nephew Trevor Lawrence throwing them dimes?
Look, Cam, you know you came on this show, and you know one way to get me fired up, doggone it. But one thing you got to do is talk about somebody that lost. And one thing in the world we don't do, talk about losing. I'm just saying, no second place. You don't get a trophy for losing. I'm sorry. He threw 3 things, and then he threw the opposite side 3 interceptions, Cam.
I remember when we were dropping off Trevor at Clemson, freshman year. I remember.
You're worse than Cam. Cam, you know what you are, Cam. You know what you are.
Give me a call.
You know what you are, Cam. You're delusional. You're delusional. Every Saturday and every Sunday, you come on this doggone show and you call me talking about Clemson, and then you talk about your Giants. And guess what it is? It's delusion. Delusion.
All I'm saying is, at this rate, even with the trash team that he plays on, he may win Rookie of the Year. Another Clemson product doing great things in the league. It's just amazing me. Unfortunately, his teammate, my other nephew, Travis Etienne, got injured. So he wasn't able to play, but I believe if he was able to play, the Jaguars would have made the game a lot closer than what it was. But my nephew Sunshine looked good. You know, he doesn't have much in Jacksonville to work with, but the young man looks good. You know, I'm gonna have to talk to him after I finish this podcast. I gotta make sure his head's wrapped around right now. You know, Urban Meyer really isn't the best coach and whatnot, but you know, every coach isn't Dabo. You know, every coach isn't Mr. Sweeney himself.
Cam,
We
are talking NFL, buddy. NFL. We're not talking Clemson. We can hold the conversation another day. But one thing you're not going to come do is talk of your delusion. I wondered why your camera was acting crazy because it already knew. Delusional. They knew it was your middle name. They knew that was Cam with the delusional plan. That's what they knew that was. And that's the reason why. I knew it. I knew it this whole time.
I know you're a hater.
He's going somewhere else.
You said we don't talk about losers, but eventually we're going to have to talk about Aaron Rodgers. So go ahead.
Hey, your team should have lost too, buddy. Daniel Jones sat over there looking like somebody's blonde child.
Wow.
Yes. But
my quarterback didn't.
We don't want to take it there. Because
my
Cam knows how to do it every single week. He comes on here with his delusion, and he thinks I'm not going to call him out being delusional.
My quarterback didn't
come to the press conference. Fans.
My quarterback didn't come to the press conference talk about, it's just another game. You know, we were in the NFC Championship last year.
We're going to move on, buddy. Look, the Chiefs. Let's talk about them. We passed the Giants already. Somebody tell me, did we pass the Giants already? No, we didn't. So we're good. We'll talk about more delusion later on in the game. But the Chiefs and the Browns, a good, decent game. But, you know, Baker Mayfield making too much commercials and not being at practice, so it causes games. But Mahomes doing the usual.
Clutch.
7 yards, 3 touchdowns in the air, 1 rushing. To pass it to you, Cam, because I know you're just now getting in. With this game here, do you consider, even though it's week 1 and we know Baker, well, he made no mistake, do you think that Browns are still a contender since they're playing a team like this that early?
Of course they're still contenders, bro. Oh, my gosh. The Browns looked really good in that loss. They folded completely. Baker Mayfield showed who he really is as a quarterback that second half of the game. He played very well. But when it comes down to clutch moments, Baker Mayfield isn't that guy. He's just not that quarterback that's going to go down the field, make those right decisions for you. He's just not him. That's not him. That's not in his DNA. He doesn't have that clutch gene quite yet. He can develop it, yes. But in my opinion, I still have the Browns winning the AFC North. No offense, Marcus. I feel like the Ravens, y'all can do it, but y'all, injury-wise, this ain't the year for it. It's just y'all are hurt too early in the season, and the defense will get y'all those stops. But at this rate, offensively, y'all lost way too much. And then Pittsburgh look good. I ain't gonna hold you. Pittsburgh look real good right now. So I want y'all to be successful, Baltimore-wise, but realistically speaking, that's low-key Cleveland's division to lose.
They can't lose it for themselves. And Martell, speaking on that side of this loss with the Browns, but Patrick Mahomes, another impressive game that we normally used to see anyway. What do you think on his side of it? I mean, this is something normal for him that we've seen throughout last season and before that. But how do you think the Chiefs pan through the season? And we got week 1.
I'm gonna just watch them more, then just come back to me when we watch them more.
You know, one of those things that got to unfold. I know Patrick Mahomes is that guy, and we know what he's capable of doing. One of the guys we were talking about in the very, very future of being, what do you want to say, a Hall of Famer.
Pat is more like the Brady of our generation, I guess you can say, / Lamar Jackson, like all in one with him.
He has it going,
Yeah.
But I got to see the weapons around them. I need the Chiefs to get a bigger, better defense. That's what I'm waiting to see for them. But Marcus talked about not only that with like Cam Martell was saying, Cam
Right.
saying about Baker Mayfield showing his true colors, just like we see other quarterbacks like Tony Romo show their true colors, where they play the game, but then when they get into clutch moments,
They choke.
they fold. They go play into a commercial. I don't know. He thought he was sitting on the sideline. He saw ghosts like Sam Norton. I don't know. But what's your biggest takeaway from that game?
My biggest takeaway is just, despite the Cleveland Browns losing, they put up a fight, and despite with all of that, Baker Mayfield, he has the potential to put up fights with Patrick Mahomes, as we saw yesterday against them. But when it comes down to critical situations and closing it out for the team, that's what matters the most. You have to be that guy to seal the deal and just be that guy for your team. And yesterday, despite the putting up the fight with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, they just came up short.
It did come up short. We will see that. Another game to talk about. I just want to bring in a little bit in depth about it, and then we'll let it go. The Dolphins inching past the Patriots. 17-16, a battle of the new generation, and Mac Jones and Tua. Great defensive game. We both see two young-minded quarterbacks go at it, and that's one thing I can't wait for the future.
Alabama natives.
And we'll see what happens there, and see if I can add Cam back in. Cam, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So with the Dolphins inching past the Patriots, which quarterback at the hands of time you think would be? I mean, obviously Mac Jones needs. Both of them need a lot more, but I think Mac Jones will be very highly successful under Bill Belichick.
I mean, shoot, Cam Newton would have been very successful in the Bill Belichick, but did him dirty. But in my opinion, I think Matt Jones will have more success just based off Belichick's system. And Belichick's system is typically, very successful when he has all his players. So I'm expecting big things from Jones, believe it or not, this year. I both think Tua and Jones are both scrubs. Alabama quarterbacks don't do much in the NFL. But we'll see this year. Tua has another chance to redeem himself. But good one for Miami. Come out the gate swinging. I mean, with Buffalo losing, that was a big win for him. It puts them, of course, above Buffalo right now. I mean, it's only one game. But like those small wins like that, what could possibly be a determining factor when it comes down to that playoff race.
You do got a point there, and going into the playoff, like you said, wins like this do matter.
Right.
And it's determined. I mean, week one, you go week one matter. It really does. That one game will matter down the road, and you look back at that and go, boy, oh boy, I wish that turned out a little bit different. But I know we got a Patriots fan in the house. I know he probably got a lot of words to say. Cam, I hope he don't turn delusional and it don't rub off through the camera sources here. But can you explain to me what happened? Did you watch the game?
I watched the game.
And what you guys say about your Patriots?
All I'm gonna say is just sit back and watch. Sit back and
Watch y'all lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of losses. But, Marcus, I don't even feel like talking about it because it's just that game. 17-16, a defensive matchup between Belichick and the boys.
Mhm.
But who do you think overall, in the nick of time, Mac Jones or Tua, who do you think played better in that matchup? Even though the game was 17-16.
Dak.
I would say Mac Jones,
Facts.
I would say Mac Jones only because like even before even before the game, like I feel like he's more of the quarterback that was more prepared and more ready than some of the other rookies in the QB class. But with Mac Jones, despite this loss, I feel like he's really uh, that guy that's like going to look over through this loss against the Dolphins and just say, I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna continue getting better, and we're gonna move forward and just create wins and just help this team around us.
They will move forward, and like you said, Dolphins 17-16. Let's talk about this matchup. We've seen it, and it's very unbelievable, but it's believable, as Cam would say. This game was moved not only from New Orleans, still they talked about before the game the impact of the families and the team, not only the New Orleans team dealing with the hurricane that just passed through a week ago, and how devastating that is to the New Orleans family. And not only that, their power being knocked out for weeks to even a month. The power grid and what they went through. And I can only imagine. I mean, they won and they beat Green Bay 38-3. I can only imagine outside of sports what their families and friends are going through back home. And it's one of the wins that you talk about. And not only that, you talk about this, and Cam and Martell can chime in. Also, is you talk about wins like this, you got all the emotion. You got Green Bay on the end where they don't know where the hell they are at right now with Aaron Rodgers. And then you got a team like the Saints that are building around Jameis. And Jameis, like Cam says, in a good seat. And they embarrassed Green Bay in Jacksonville. I'm talking about embarrassed is an understatement. And I'm not going to sit up here and act like it's all cool and calm and collected. No. Green Bay should have hit the panic button at the start of yesterday's game.
The Packers was just disgruntled.
I wouldn't even say disgruntled. It's one of these things that you have the defense out there struggling. You have the defense allowing, not even, you might say allowing, Jameis Winston to throw 5 touchdowns and not even 200 yards. Their running back did it. I'm not even shocked that Green Bay acted that poor. They were not that prepared. And then you got Aaron Rodgers, MVP, a Super Bowl champion, that is highly disgruntled with his team. And I don't even know where the hell he's at, because yesterday, 15-28, 2 interceptions, you get sacked once. Damn it, I would think you got sacked 19 times the way you perform. And he blamed it on his teammates. When you throw the ball as a quarterback behind your receiver, how do you think he will hit reverse and catch the ball? It don't work that way. And Cam, I'm encouraged to you, but Rodgers blew it. There's no doubt in my mind he didn't look like he was in the game. Normally in moments of chaos like that, we've seen Aaron Rodgers do great things. We've seen him have horrible games. They said through Twitter, a source that I saw, he could throw the damn ball at the ground and got a higher QBR than what he did play.
Yeah.
And Jordan Love came in 5 of 7 in a little bit of time that he did, and he had 70 yards. Almost as much as Aaron Rodgers had the entire game that he played. And he touched the ground a few times.
That's Aaron.
He might have a concussion from that one hit he took. I don't know. But I don't know what the hell is going on in Green Bay. But Cam, you might be able to describe me what's going on. Some people say Rodgers trying to blow it before he can get traded. Some people say he's just trying to make it seem like, if I'm not here, y'all are nothing kind of deal. And what you think is going on, Cam? I'm speechless with what's going on in Green Bay.
Well, I'll say 2 things. First and foremost, this was more of an important win for New Orleans, for the city.
Yes.
And I think people forget that Jameis Winston threw for 5,000 yards before he went to the New Orleans Saints. That season when they got Tom Brady, he threw for 5,000 yards and 30 tubs. He threw for 30 interceptions too. That's true. But still throwing for 5,000 yards is pretty impressive. So I expect Jameis to be extremely successful in this offense because not Drew Brees, Sean Payton, offensive guru. And they did all this without Michael Thomas. So just wait till Michael Thomas gets back. Just imagine how powerful this offense is about to be. And that defense showed up. That defense came to play. And remember what happened last time when the hurricane hit New Orleans and devastated New Orleans? What happened? They won the Super Bowl, right? No coincidence. I'm not saying they won a Super Bowl, but what I'm saying is they came out playing hard every week. But to the other side of the ball in regards to Green Bay, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers really wants to be in Green Bay right now. I don't know if he's trying to get LaFleur fired. I don't know if he even wants to be the host of Jeopardy anymore. At this point, he looked so bad, and I don't know if he's throwing the game or if he just wasn't really fully prepared. But for me, he did so much talking before the season in regards to, maybe not playing or wanting to be traded, whatever the case may be. But when it came time to play, you didn't show up at all. You didn't get off the bus. You were still in Green Bay. You were still on vacation.
No, he's on vacation. Forget Green Bay. He's on the waterfalls and I don't know.
With a relaxed I don't know.
This is a wake-up call for Green Bay, though, for sure. And it just wasn't on him. Their defense, y'all's defense was terrible. Y'all's defense, it was terrible. So y'all have a lot. Y'all have a lot of planning and restructuring to do because I can tell you right now, if y'all do the same thing y'all did, only putting up 3 points this next week, y'all aren't going to be so productive.
And that's one thing you look at. Going to a game like that, you lose. And I'm not taking anything from the Saints right now. Not at all. I do want to see if Jameis stays consistent week to week because we know how he is, and we've seen him in different areas where he's thrown for 5 like this, and next week he throws for 10 interceptions. I do want that, but I hope he great success. But in the same distance, like you said, our defense. Green Bay went from last season trash, and then you just went hot garbage. I don't know what you want. But at the same token is, and most people say Green Bay, oh, you're a fan, blah, blah, blah. No. At the end of the day, you're trash, And right now, Green Bay playing like hot garbage. And it's a dumpster fire on the train wreck. And the one thing is, like Cam said, I don't know if Rodgers wants to be in Green Bay. You see it in his eyes. You see the passion in most quarterbacks. And yesterday, that was not passion. You look at the Chiefs, you see Patrick Mahomes, you go, that man wants it, he's hungry, he's fighting. But then you look at a quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, you go, where the hell are you? And then you look at the team and you ask the coach, Matt, where the hell are you at? Because at the end of the day, if Rodgers is throwing 2 interceptions and he's not catching any fire with nobody, we had 4 running backs last night and yesterday. And we only scored 58 yards.
Couldn't even get the running game going.
Nothing. And then your defense comes out there like they're playing patty cake and let the man run in the field. Hell, me and Camden went out there and strapped that man down more than that. And Martell could have been a coach.
I got that Belichick mind, but go ahead.
It's just the thing. But to you, Martell, what could Green Bay even do to get more prepared? I think at this point, Aaron Rodgers is a huge distraction. If I'm Matt LaFleur, I'm looking at it. Sounds crazy. I'm looking at the route of Jordan Love. I'm at this point. I'm a Rodgers fan too. But when you look at a distraction like that, I think Jordan Love could at least score 10 points in the game.
Hey, Kej, you see the distraction I got back here?
How dare y'all come into this house of the blue and gray Dallas Cowboys?
Security.
Something positive about them Cowboys.
Security. We got a disgruntled Cowboy fan that has just popped up on the scene. And
I am all the way terrible. I am applaud. So y'all been going good thing about the Cowboys? Oh no,
absolutely not.
Well, I'm here to say, how about them Cowboys, baby? Woo!
Cowboy fans. You be dog, you do it, dog, and you don't. Goodness gracious.
Can't believe y'all came up in here. You better not be talking about no
Cam. Cam, can you tell me what's going on? How did the Cowboy fans sneak in?
Man, I love y'all.
You know they need
on, man.
attention, bro.
Cowboy fans, you can't live with them.
The
Can't live
Cowboys
without.
fans need attention 24/7. They are like children.
And 24/7.
Broncos. Did the Giants lose to the Broncos?
I believe.
Did the Cowboys lose to the
Did the Giants lose
Buccaneers?
to the Broncos?
Talking
Did the
about the
Cowboys lose
Broncos
to the
and Giants.
Buccaneers?
Talk
Talk
about
to
that
me now.
matchup. They're
We
up
both
next.
took L's now. Y'all should
Green
have won.
Bay. Didn't y'all get
Y'all should have won.
Hey, Green Bay got smoked. Woo! Oh my God! I'm sorry to interrupt, but woo! Green Bay got smoked.
Yo, I'm so sick of this, bro.
But Cam, talking about the Broncos versus the Giants, he brought it up.
He
27-13.
brought it up.
Teddy Bridgewater, 28-36, 264, 2 touchdowns, 2 sacks. Cam, can you tell me what went on in that game went wrong? I mean, I think it's Daniel Jones, but and coaching staff. But
like I've said in previous shows, until the day we get rid of Danny Dumbass, we will not win a game of football. He is the first problem. Then we have to go back to David Gettleman, who is the GM of the Giants, who can't draft to save his life. Makes no sense to me. Danny Dumbass, since he entered the league, he leads the league in turnovers. What the hell kind of stat is that?
I don't know. He made me cry.
No. What makes it worse? What makes the whole situation worse, man? We go and get that bum of a coach, Jason Garrett. You're like, you know what? It didn't work out in Dallas, so let's see what you can do here in New York. You know, let's see what we could possibly do.
He wanted to stay in the division, yo.
He wanted to stay in the division just to make us lose even more. You couldn't win in Dallas. You can't win in New York. Why do you have a job? Why? Why?
Maybe somebody offensive coach, yo.
And then we go and get Joe Judge. Okay, I'm not mad at Joe Judge. You know, he's a decent coach. But damn it, I never heard of you, kid. You are a special teams guru, not a head coach, buddy. Special team guru. Stick to what you know. Damn. I mean, for all this,
Cam, are you okay?
For all this, we might as well have Eli behind there. We might as well have Eli behind center. I don't care if he throws with his left hand. It don't matter. He'll have less turnovers than Danny Dumbass.
But no, Cam. Your delusion is coming upon us. But I want to say this.
Damn, you crazy, bro.
Look, I'm going to move on to the Rams.
I'm not done.
You're not done. Good Lord, Cam. What's wrong?
Our defense played so well. That's the part in the first half. But guess what? Like any team that plays football, if your defense is on the field 80% of the time, guess what? You're losing.
Facts.
It's just that simple. So the defense gets tired. So guess what? We end up, getting scored on at a high abundance. And we lost to the Denver Broncos, y'all. It ain't like we lost to, the Chiefs, the Buccaneers. We lost to the damn Denver Broncos.
He got that Jason Garrett syndrome.
That's why I'm pissed. That's why I am so pissed right now.
We was happy to give it to you.
Well, hey, Cam, I understand what's going on. And I feel you on that. All of our teams took an L. But let's talk about one more loss, and that's the Bears. The Rams defended the trenches. The Rams look pretty decent. I know it's the Bears. I think Andy Dalton needs to sit his behind down, and they need to go ahead and get that thing on over to Justin Fields, 34-14. Matt Stafford looked really solid there. Finally got somewhere that he can fit. I think it's about time. Again, Rams defense held the fort down, but rushing game, 2 touchdowns, 26 carries, 134 yards. But I want to ask this around the table. And I'll start with Cam, Marcus, and I end with Martell. But Cam, should the Bears start Justin Fields after we've seen what happened last night?
Is the sky blue?
Say it again, Cam.
Justin Fields is the damn sky blue. Justin Fields, when he got drafted, should have been announced on draft day that he is the starter of the Chicago Bears. We saw what happened in Cincinnati when Andy Dalton was getting older. They kicked him out. He goes to Dallas as a backup. Doesn't have much success in Dallas. So why the hell do you think a reject from Cincinnati, a reject in Dallas, will do something in Chicago? It doesn't make any sense to me. So Justin Fields, he'll be named the starter by week 3. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's about right.
I agree.
Martell?
Hey, piggyback off what Cam said. Week 3, period.
There you go. Marcus, what you got? Justin Fields QB, or did we just stay with Andy Dalton?
Hell yeah, start Justin Fields.
My bad. I just asked the question. I mean, he scored 14 points. Why not? But on the same note of that game, we saw what happened. Justin Fields should be quarterback. We determined that. But let's talk about tonight and tonight's game, Monday Night Football. It should be coming on in at least the next 10 minutes. But let's get a quick note on this. Ravens versus the Raiders in the black hole. Not only that, the Ravens have a lot of injuries piled up on them. And not only that, you have Marcus Peters. You got 3 running backs that went down in preseason. Why the hell y'all even got pads on? You should be doing walkthroughs. Hell, damn that. Virtual. We're not even practicing after all these injuries. You got Marcus Peters. You got Nick Boyle. You got all these injuries. COVID-19. You name it. That's running through the Ravens locker room right now. And that's starting the season. So you already started the season with multiple injuries that are huge players. They don't have to go out here and get running backs off the chop block because you're trying to figure out now, I don't even have running backs because I'm out here practicing. Whoever you strength and conditioning coach, your head coach, that's their fault. Because you see one guy go down, why are you still out there taking hard hits at practice? Only to get to a game in a regular season, then you're possible to submit to losing because you're not going to have a run game. And unfortunately, hope Lamar doesn't get banged up himself because he's going to have to be the it guy. He's going to have to be that one-man band. And that's what I'm afraid of going and seeing tonight's game. That I like the Ravens. And, I like the Ravens winning. But at the end of the day, what kind of stressful Lamar Jackson had to go through tonight being a one-man band. And that's kind of scary looking at right now. Well, Marcus, I know because I gave Cam the ringing ear for the Giants. But let me ask you before I go to them. I know you got the Ravens over the Raiders tonight.
Of course.
But what do you think's going to happen with so many injuries? Do you think you guys like what happens? Tell me something.
Well, we got running backs in Le'Veon Bell, we got Latavius Murray, and we got Devontae Freeman alongside with VSU alumni Trenton Cannon. Shout out to him. It's just a matter of time where when you have those running backs going down in Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins, and Justice Hill, the other running backs that you brought in, it's important for them to be that next man up. Everybody got to contribute. Everybody have to have their fair share, whether or not they're starting or not. So with that being said, everyone got to, be on the same page and just hope they don't get injured because who knows what's going to happen with the running backs that we just brought in. Shout out to Eric Costa. But I just feel like as long as these running backs can stay healthy, then we should be in decent shape.
So, Cam, on that note, or let me go to Martell first before I switch it to you, Cam. But Martell, looking at this game, Ravens and Raiders, they got a little team, not the best. Ravens, they probably about equal right now with like injuries and COVID-19 and all the other nine. But with Lamar being the one man band tonight, what do you think happened in this game and who you got winning?
For this game right here tonight, I think if Lamar shares the ball, then I think it'll be a tough night for the Raiders. As far as the Raiders, they probably have that home crowd on them going into this game. Anything possible can happen, I guess you can say. I mean, I think this game tonight is just going to be a fun match to watch.
For sure.
So I think we're just gonna have to wait and see. But I think I got my money on the Ravens tonight.
I like Ravens too. Cam, your opinion on this deal? We know what both teams are about. Injuries, COVID, like you said, hit them all around and both squads. But not only how did the running back core restore order after losing three running backs throughout this last week or so, but what you think happens in the night's game?
What's going to happen is those Clemson Raiders are going to come out there and beat the Baltimore Ravens. Look. Every year, Oakland they've been just drafting Clemson products.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's like Oakland is now like the breeding home for Clemson.
Yeah.
It's like a funnel system. You know what I'm saying? My man's calls Dabo. Hey, yo, Dabo, who can I get from your team that, he may not be the best player in college, but he's a great role player. He's a great kid. And then, boom. Next thing you know, 3 years down the line, you have, 4 or 5 starters on Oakland? That's all. Well, Las Vegas, that's all I'm saying. Las Vegas, they'll be all right.
You got a point, Will Cam. I will say this. You know it's the first show of this year for us. Football's back, and we cannot leave the show without Cam's Corner, as long as it's not delusional. But Cam, take it away, Cam's Corner. You got 1 minute.
Man, big shout out to all those fans who still believe in the Giants, because I'm telling y'all right now, I only got one more season of this BS. All right, if Danny Dunlance is my quarterback next year, I'm leaving y'all. I love y'all, but I gotta go. I can't take any more of this stress anymore. I was watching the game last night. It was a good game. The first quarter was going well. But I think I cussed out the TV more than the Giants had possessions that game. It was really, really, really frustrating. But you know what, though? Every week is a new week. We have a short week this week. We have the Washington football team with no quarterback. So we have a slight chance of winning. But guess what? Your boy Danny Dumbass will probably throw the ball to the opposition more than he's going to throw it to his own teammates. So we all know how this is going to go. So like I said, guys, pray for my mental health, because Danny Jones is going to drive me off a bridge. I love you guys.
Well, welcome back to Goode. That was Cam's Corner. But just give you a little bit brief before we go. Week 2, the hot topics. Giants and the Washington football team, because that's a game, that's a rivalry. Texans and the Browns would like to see what happens with that. Bills and Dolphins, Titans and Seattle, Chiefs and Ravens, and you got the Lions and Packers. So you want to see what Aaron Rodgers does, and you want to see what that Lions defense does as well. Again, Dallas Cowboy folks, as always, the Cowboys continue to suck, and my mug continues to stay full each and every single week, because it's just the Dallas Cowboys. But again, it's been a great night. On the off screen, right beside me is Marcus Ojolaya. On the other side of the screen is Martell Dixon, Cameron Taylor, Campbell DePlan. As always, trust Goode. We say good night. Be blessed, guys. We out.
Pleasure, y'all.